Fitness doesn't have to be complicated or intimidating. Let's talk about it. This show's for beginners, people stepping into the gym for the first time, sorting through the diet fads, and wanting to feel stronger and healthier. Here is where we get down to the basics, the training, the nutrition, the recovery, and the mindset. Leading the way is NPC bodybuilding champion and seasoned coach here to guide us. His competition highlights include out of his last 10 shows, two runner-ups, and eight first-place titles, along with a host of other accolades, placements, and accomplishments, and also in his 50th year, training in the gym consistently. Welcome and all aboard the Train with Barry show. Hello, Barry.
What's going on, Eric? Another day, another week.
Another day, another week. Yeah, it's been pretty good for me this week. I got my workouts in. My
Yeah,
my second workout probably wasn't as strong as my first,
and it
but
won't
it's
be.
it's
There's a reason for
consistency,
that.
is it?
Yeah, as I
Why-
told you, I've said that because first workout, breaking down muscle, working out whatever. The second one is harder just because of the soreness and working out some of the soreness. You're not going to be as strong as after that third workout. I'm telling you, you watch it, you'll talk about it, but it just takes off.
Well, I can't wait for that, to be honest with you, and I feel like I want to rush the process, but honestly, that's not going to do me any benefit.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
We talk about that. We talk about that with people who that'll start training and start seeing the great results and seeing change and say, "What if we had another day? What if we had another day?" And when I tell you that, speaking of that, there's a guy in the gym today. He's always in there. He's in there every day. I don't know if he's in there Sundays because I'm not. I can't remember the times I've gone in Sunday without remembering, but irrelevant. He's in there 6 days. The dude has one workout 6 days a week. Same workout, same weights, always on his phone. He's an interesting bird to watch. He either has it on speaker, like he's doing his selectorized leg presses. He's got his phone here and he's talking while he's doing the movement. If he's doing like incline press or chest, he puts it up on his chest
Yeah.
so he can talk while he's working out. But he does leg press. Then he went to upright row, standing barbell curl, incline press. He gets his abs in, and he literally does it 5 days a week.
Is that too
And,
much?
huh?
Is that too much? Or working out 5 days a week? Is that counterproductive in his case?
Well, it's beyond unproductive because, again, he's doing the same body parts. So he's doing the same thing he did yesterday, working biceps again, chest, same exact everything the same. Yet, when is your repair and recover? When is your time to break down? I mean, I've been watching him over a year, and he is where he was. Now, he's got that physique kind of thing where he's kind of thick. He has no muscle tone, no muscle. You wouldn't, like, if you saw him out, you never say, "Hey, man, that dude must go to the gym." You'd never say that in a million years. But mainly because, again, irrelevant, and I'm sure his diet's not even anywhere good. He's the guy that does these things for his love handles every day. He throws those in there. And no, because, again, I would 2 days rest in between. Obviously, you don't want to do a Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday kind of thing where you're giving his body a chance to rest and recover and break down, rebuild and repair the muscle he's breaking down. So, yeah, it's sad. I mean, I think, like I said, we talk about this a lot, and I wonder about it a lot. It's funny because I saw a guy in there yesterday. He was a big boy. He was probably, I never seen him in there. He's probably 450 maybe. And I was thinking to myself, he was on the leg press, and he had 4 plates on each other side. He was working. And I found myself saying exactly what my clients would say, and I'm not a fan of it, but I say, "Man, well, at least he's in here."
At least he's in here.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I give you that at the beginning. But let's say if I can say that about him, a month from now, 2 months from now, and see progress and see change and see his weights going up and something along that line. I think the biggest there's so many reasons why it doesn't work for people. I'd say intensity would be lack of intensity is the number one when people train. I'd say 8 out of 10 today I watched that had fun, I mean, literally finish their set, pick their phone up, do whatever, put their phone down, pick up the same dumbbells, do their set, put the dumbbells down, pick up their phone. In between every set they do, I haven't ever done it. I just can't grasp the how you ever going to get anywhere. Not just progressive resistance, or is none.
Right.
I'm just saying, when you push the weights that you should be pushing, I was thinking it's about the other day. I was trying. He's the hardest person I ever trained with in my life, if you remember, was Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig.
Yeah, you trained with him?
Yeah, we trained together for about, when he lived in Atlanta. We trained for a little while, and that dude kicked my rear end
He's a
day in and day
maniac.
out. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
big boy, but he trains at such intensity and speed that, I mean, I was so sore most of the time, especially at the beginning, that I worked through it, that it was almost not, I didn't want to go. I was hoping he'd call out or wouldn't show up, because he's so strong, but he trains at such a quick pace. And now that I'm on that subject, so Reg reached out to me last week, and he was upset or complaining that his strength was a little off. His dumbbells, he said, man, Barry, my dumbbells I just wasn't as strong as I normally am. What do you think it is? And I'm like, so the things he did different was that he said, well, normally I'll superset chest and back. So when you super opposing muscles, chest, back, and the fact you're doing a set of chest, to me, it's like, and I always superset my stuff most of the time, because it's like training with somebody. So while I'm going over to do a set of back, that'd be like you getting down doing chest. So when I come back, it's ready for me to do chest again. You don't really have to watch your watch. You've got a pretty good gauge of 45 seconds to a minute and 15 seconds break in between. That's ideally how long you want to rest between sets before your muscle fiber goes to a total relaxed state. You know what I mean? If you're resting, as people do most of the time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, you're always going to have good strength. Your strength's going to be good because you totally recover. But from a muscle standpoint or progressive resistance standpoint, there's pretty much none. So he decided he didn't do chest back. He went strictly chest. I said, well, how long do you think you're resting in between? He said, probably 30 to 45 seconds. I said, well, there you go. There's no recovery. It's brutal to be able to, I couldn't train as heavy as he's training or heavy as I train, or if you're training heavy, to do something like that on a 30-second rest period. Can't do it.
Oh, I
I mean, you
see.
can,
Yeah.
but you're not going to see the progressive resistance part of it. And you're actually going to see, if you did 10 reps, maybe that one set, next set you might get 9 or 8. You're not going to it's tough to get all sets of 10. Just because you're not resting, there's resting too much, but then there's also not resting enough.
And in this case, he's not resting enough.
Nah, 30 seconds, 45 at max. Years ago, and again, I go off what in all those days of doing all my seminars and listening to different professors and stuff. He said ideally 45 seconds to 1 minute 15 is ideal rest time between sets.
45
as far
seconds?
As where you don't allow that muscle fiber as you get into it to come all the way back to a relaxed state to when you do your next set, kind of like powerlifting. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a different sport. As far as that's pure strength. I watched guys in the gym all my life. I've been around so many powerlifters. They might rest 5-10 minutes between sets. Their goal is to squat 500, 600, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not about still progressive resistance, and they're still building. There's some big old boys that are powerlifters, but it's a different physique in a sense. They're just a little thicker, not quite as muscular is probably not even the word. Just leaner, more tight, more definition defined. They're just big, thick boys, and so that has to do more with the training style. But again, their goal was one thing: how much can I lift? Which is mine, I guess, to some extent. But I'm trying to incorporate both. But yeah, Jim was a guy that just, as you saw him in the ring, that's how he was in the gym. That was one wired, tight dude, man. He didn't play.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about him, and you're right. The stories that I've heard, he was very intense. I saw one video of him online training kids, or actually just some younger guys. And man, he was really intense. I don't know if you've seen that video.
I haven't. I could see if I can look it up. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
who he is. I was thinking about today, I watched the girls working out again. I watch people when I'm wrestling between sets, and a guy came over and started talking to her. I probably did 3 sets of chest, 3 back before he ever walked away to do her next set. Jim didn't talk. He don't kind of like I do. I mean, again, I don't and go engage in conversation in the gym because I don't really have that. I don't want that downtime because you don't know how long you're going to be in that conversation. So that's how he was. He didn't talk to nobody. He was. You didn't rub him the wrong way. One day I was going in the gym and he was late. I was like, man, come on, Jimbo. What are you doing? What's up, Jimbo? How come you late? And he said, well, I'm a girl, his girlfriend at the time, whatever, whatever. And I said, really? I mean, you allowed her to, and man, almost ended that workout, almost ended our relationship. He snapped. He didn't like that. He didn't like he's not a guy that plays around. He's all business.
Oh,
We
wow.
worked through it, but whatever. I learned right there just to,
Just
do
to
my
keep,
thing, work out, and get up out of there, and don't say
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
about nothing. So,
business.
you were saying something about someone got a couple comments in there
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah. Actually, we did get a couple of comments. There was a couple of comments here by, let's see, by Strawberry Yogurt.
Strawberry yogurt.
Yeah, is that in your meal plan?
No. Well,
Okay.
I'll do some blueberry yogurt. It's that ratio,
Okay.
25 grams of protein.
Yeah. Well, a strawberry yogurt here says that I could down 12 eggs in one sitting, but it's too expensive in this day and age. And I find, well, they go on to say that you should find an alternative source of protein. Eggs aren't that expensive right now, are they?
Nah, I mean, they've gone down so much. I mean, even when they were $4, when they got up to $4 or whatever. Again, I feel the same way about $4 I do now that they're $1.96. That's what I get them for. But when you're talking about approximately 50 grams of protein, probably not probably the best source of protein you can get for $2. I'm just speaking for myself, and I do 2 dozens. That's $4. I'm not sure where am I going to get 50 grams of protein for $2? If I
Yeah.
did a protein shake, some of those shakes I get at Smoothie King, which are 45 grams, that's an $8 protein shake. Chicken, fish, that yogurt I'm talking about, ratio yogurt, which is 25 grams, is great yogurt, but it's $1.68 for a container. So to get my 50 grams that I would be for the same concept, which I wouldn't do 2 of those. I'd want a cleaner source even than that. What is that? $3.36. You know what I mean? I don't know I don't know where he's buying his eggs. Now he could be buying those omega type eggs or those
Oh, yeah.
specialty eggs.
Sure.
But even then, when you're only basically if 8 of them or 9 of them are whites, it doesn't matter where you get your whites from. I mean, all the bad stuff and all the specialty eggs are about the yolk. It's not really about the egg white. So, yeah, I don't know. Couldn't answer that question. I don't think there is a better alternative or a cheaper alternative when you're getting that many grams. And if you looked at the high quality and the cleanliness of an egg, right now, like we finish up here, my fourth meal today will be another 6 or 8 eggs. So I'll do 32 today at the end when I'm all set.
32 eggs. Oh,
Yeah.
well, not all yolks. Just
No,
how
no,
many
no.
of that is
Yeah.
yolks? How many of that is yolks?
Right now I'm doing 8 whites, 4 yolks. So, and then my second breakfast was 3 yolks. So I'll probably do out of those next 6, 2 more yolks. So 7. But even then, you're doing everything else right. I never really thought about it. I've never had a cholesterol. I've never had an issue, knock on wood with anything. So
Well, you're building muscle, and muscle is hungry.
yeah, so it's just clean. Like I said, it's like air. It's how do you eat 12 eggs? I mean, it wasn't always that way. You know what I mean? There was a time when I was trying to really put some weight on. I went to 15 eggs. So I was doing 15 for breakfast. I did, and then amongst doing more carbs and whatever, I got from about 215 up to 232. And it was definitely thick, but wasn't the cleanest thick as I'd like to be honest with you. Like, to be honest, my pants, I couldn't quite button them. So I'd always just wear my shirt out, but they'd fit, but they just couldn't get them buttoned. And I wasn't comfortable with that as far as any time I put anything on them. My waist pretty much is the same as it was for the last 35 years. It's never really changed for me. So,
Well, Strawberry Yogurt did leave another comment. They mentioned here, as far as motivation is concerned, if the person has a fitness end goal, and goes back to what you've said before, that should hopefully help keep them on track. And what I remember you saying is usually when you're training people, one of the things that you like to connect their progress to is a short-term goal.
Yeah, short-term goal number one, but also just again, people need a purpose. You know, what I mean, they need a purpose. The one who, for the most part, people are the ones successful, are the ones getting ready for. Like a girl I was talking the other day, got a cruise coming up in June. She's like, I'm gonna start working out. I got to do whatever. I want to really get ready for that cruise or a wedding or whatever the case may be. And a good example of that is Rosemary. We'll put a shout out for Rosemary. I ran into her Sunday and she pulls out of her purse. Look, Barry, look what I got. She has some of those BSN bars. And that is somebody, seriously, like I don't know how many people listen to this or watch it. You know, my brother's engaged now, and he's kind of going out doing what I asked him to do. Reggie is one who he ordered them in front of me Sunday while we were at the game. I had a bar with me. He's like, man, I got to do that. I keep forgetting. I'm going to do it right now. And he ordered them. So there are a select few that just will do it. But for the most part, and she's somebody just, I'm telling you, as far as all in, I've never really quite had anybody like her, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had some people that have done phenomenal results wise, but she, from going where she was to where she is, and when you're talking about the motivation part, so we were at a party the other night from the theater, and she was there, and she was there with her daughter. She introduced me to her daughter, and I was like, hey, how are you doing? I said, so I assume you're in the gym now working out? Because what? No, that's not for me. That's for her. I don't even do that. I don't go to the gym. Don't want to go to the gym. So again, you can't talk anybody in doing nothing. You know what I mean? You can't. It's not really going to work. Now, I might talk somebody into. I've had people that thought they wanted to train or get to training, and you get in the gauge, you start doing it, and they just drop off. They don't. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, I'm not making excuses, because if you want it bad enough and you have in your mind what you're, again, we set our goals up. You know, who doesn't want a nicer car, work hard at a nicer vacation or a nicer house or to buy a house, whatever, you know what I mean? You will work whatever it takes to do that. But when it comes to our health, it's so crazy to watch people don't put that same emphasis or the same desire, just take it for granted. And that's all good till you get into your 50s and your 60s and things start turning the other direction and start atrophying that muscle, man. It's not enjoyable retirement life.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's something that as I'm getting older that I'm thinking about. And it's interesting because I just hit my technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. How's that? Are we better now? All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, as I was saying, I think it's interesting because you said one time, I think you told me this. It sounds very smart, so I assume you said it, that the very first example of discipline is eating, is what you eat. And in this day and age, there's so many temptations for flavor. There's so many temptations for flavor, and you mentioned that you eat the same all the time, with the exception to your cheat meal.
Right.
You eat the same all the time, and that tells me that flavor is not the first thing that you choose when it comes to a meal. And I think that we all have been fooled into thinking every meal needs to be luxurious and overly flavorful. And that's not necessarily the case. It's a protein intake, and these flavors are vehicles for the chemicals and the things that are going to be counterproductive to your fitness and your health.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, when I eat, it's nothing I don't not enjoy. When I came on, I had my 12 ounces of chicken breast and a sweet potato. And it tastes, I mean, to me, it's like, wow. I mean, it doesn't ever like, man, Barry, you mean you've had that for the last 30 years every day for lunch? Yeah, I don't think of it like that. Like, man, chicken again, like when we were kids, mom, chicken again, you know. Now, if somebody said, hey, this is what you need to do. If you really want to see a change in your body and see change and and results, you need a liver. I'm out. I'm not doing, you know what I mean? There's certain things that I'm not, I find things that I enjoy that I can eat. I love salmon. I love sushi, raw, tuna. I eat tuna and things like that. I eat some the other day for lunch. I'll change that up a little bit and have something different. But there's never a time that I sit and have to, getting it down in a sense. I will say, because we only want what we can't have. And I've seen that my whole life of bodybuilding. Again, when I've talked about where I have 6 weeks of my guys like, look, this is what you got right on this paper. Here's what you follow. And I'm like, man, oh man. So there's a time like the week before, I'm like, these are my meals. I get 8 meals. Chicken and sweet potato for breakfast, chicken and baked potato, or steak and baked potato for next meal. And I vice versa that 8 times a day. Man, that gets old. That's not, it gets to where you don't even want to see any of that stuff afterwards. You know what I mean? Or feel like you do. Because that's what you have to do. And then the more I see in the store when I'm walking around getting what I need to get, I'm like, man, when I get done with this trolley contest, I'm buying that. And I'm buying that. And I'm buying that. And then when I get done and I have my little meal afterwards and get back to normal eating, I go in the store thinking, I can't even believe I thought about, and that just doesn't even look like it'd be good.
You've said this before, and
yeah,
I have a feeling.
For me, it's true.
I have a feeling. No, I think it's true for everyone, and I have a feeling this is before I thought this was more of a nutrition feeding your cravings thing. And maybe it is a little bit of that, but it's also starting to sound like this is a more psychological thing because you're feeling like this when you have to stay regimented. And now that you have a plan to follow, now that you have a plan to follow is where your mind says, "Oh my God, now I can't, have the choices that I'm used to having." Whether you exercise the choices or not, you kind of want them there.
Yeah, because exactly same thing when we were kids. And I don't know how many times you had a girl that you liked, you want to go out with, your parents like, that's not very, you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna go hang out with my buddies. They're not good for you. Don't do that, and you sneak out and go and get in trouble. And when they, you know what I mean? It's probably the smartest move to do, but we do it anyway because someone said we can't do it. And I think it's the same really just in life and food and everything else. Again, I say it simply, we always want what we can't have. And so the more you can't have it, the more don't think you should have it, then we find a way that we want to have it. Again, I think the more that you can, and I've said this over and over, clean your palate up. It just really isn't optional. You can't, I forget what I had the other day, added something to what was yesterday. I had my chicken and I had my sweet potato. And I picked up a little bit of sushi, just shrimp, little rolls. And I had about 5 of those. And man, that just didn't digest the same for me. It stuck with me a little bit longer than it normally would. I was fine for my next meal. It just shows you when your body's used to eating a certain way, anything you throw in there that would be different and hadn't done in a while, your body doesn't, so receptive to it. At least for me, it's not. So I already know that going in, so I just don't do it.
Well, let me ask you this. Is that something that people need to get settled before they step into the gym? You told me that you can't out-train a bad diet. Is it pointless? And then at the same time, we just said today, at least they're here. At least they're in the gym. I mean, does somebody need to?
But it is true because you got to start, at least they're in there, they're starting.
Right.
Now let's see what happens after that. But yeah, I agree. You can't out-train, but it depends on where, for those that I've seen, let's say for the last year, and I see them in the gym every day. A lot of them dropped off, but I see relatively like today, I've probably 10 of those people that I've watched over the last year, 10 or 15, that I see really no change, honestly, no difference whatsoever. One guy is definitely stronger. He's gotten where he can lift some heavy stuff. But the part of that, his biggest problem is he's physique-wise has changed nothing because, again, he's doing nothing eating-wise different. I don't know how he eats. I don't think it's probably even on his radar as far as getting in the calories that he needs to be able to, again, repair and rebuild. So strength doesn't always dictate. And I used to think this when I would say to my buddy, he's a mentor of mine, Lenny Mack. I said, Lenny, man, I can't understand it. just not putting any weight on. He said, what are you eating? I said, well, you know what I eat, Lenny. I eat what I always eat. He said, exactly. Just think what you just said. He said, where are you going to get the weight? Where's the weight coming from? Just because I went up 30 pounds on my lifts or whatever? Where's the weight coming from if you're taking in 1,000 calories? How your scale going to go up? Unless you're taking in 1,500 or 2,000, whatever the number is. Something's got to change nutrition-wise, whether it is you're going to lose or gain. Something needs to change. Now, most of the time for losing, it isn't about eating less. It never is about eating less. It's eating cleaner and eating more, because rarely is it ever about people who eat too much food day in and day out, just way too many calories. It just isn't. Very rarely I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody who's overweight that I'd ask them what they eat, and they would tell me, and I was like, wow, you eat all that? It's nothing. They eat, barely eat breakfast. A girl talked the other day, the same thing. So I don't eat breakfast. I don't usually eat till 11 or 12 o'clock. And then I might, then she wants to fast, whatever. Seriously, that's like her one meal. In her mind, she thinks she's going to lose weight. And again, metabolically, we've already talked about it 1,000 times, but it's worth repeating. You're not going to, metabolic, you have no metabolism.
Basically, you'll see the scale move. You'll see the scale move, all right, but you're losing muscle.
It's going to, but you got to understand what you're losing. Exactly. Right. It's going to be water. It's going to be muscle. But it's the biggest thing, again, we harped on it is, and I just read a great article yesterday. All of a sudden, every article I've been picking up and reading is about protein. You got to eat protein, eat more protein. And again, we talked about it a week or two ago. My daughter, she's losing weight, and I said, Dad, all I'm doing is eating breakfast now, but I'm trying to eat a lot of protein. So better to do that, at least from a metabolic standpoint, to have a metabolism, and then keep from atrophying muscle, getting your food. If you're going to get it from somewhere, make it be protein.
Well, it's nice to know that all of those articles and magazines are listening to the Train with Barry show.
You would think, seriously. And again, it's funny. I've said this over and over again. And I was talking to someone on Sunday. I was telling them it still boggles my mind in 2026 that somehow there's still this big wonder every time you read a little article of some newfound thing that they figured it out, and it's all about just eating more protein, and somehow that's some new thing that's been going on. I saw something on the internet yesterday. There's this guy that's trying to tell people all he eats is breakfast. Now, he wasn't muscular, but he had some muscle on him. It looked like he might be in his 50s. He said, if you keep hearing about this, eating more protein, this is the stuff that's out there on the internet that people here are reading. That's what they go with. He said, that's just bogus. You don't need all that protein. You don't need all that food. It's just getting here, working out. I eat one meal a day, and that's all I eat. And it carries me through whatever. And I'm thinking, I was going to comment. It's not even really worth commenting. I think they do that just to get comments and try to build a base, I guess, because it's, I don't believe he believes that, or he's actually doing it from how he looked. But that's the stuff that gets put out there that people then read or hear and think, well, that makes sense. Look at him.
I mean, is it possible that something like that works for that guy?
Sure. I was reading that the other day. There are certain, and that's what this guy was saying about the article I was reading about all the diet books. He doesn't think anybody that's written a book on dieting, which is probably how they helped them get where they need to get to, are being, trying to con anybody. That's truly what worked for them, for whatever reason.
Right.
But as far as working for the masses, it ain't going to work.
That's right.
Day in and day out, it's proven it hasn't worked. And again, that's something we got to figure it out. I mean, again, I preach what I preach as far as how I eat and what I do, 6 meals a day and 7, whatever it is I'm going to eat. That's not going to be for everybody. I think if everyone just did 3 squares and a snack, they'd be golden, because it's way more than they're doing now. And again, if you're in the gym and you're working out and you start seeing things, you like what you see, then it's about doing a little bit more. It's about eating a little bit more. It's not about eating less. It's just, you know, keep doing more of what you've been doing, but trying to tweak it instead of just getting on this, you know, set pattern where you're never trying. Because I'm always, right now, I'm trying to reinvent myself, truthfully, and see some good change. I mean, I saw my lats today, maybe the first time seriously ever, as long as I've been doing this, that you know, hitting my lat spread, how low where my lats have come out now. It's like, holy crud, I've never seen that before. Now I've been doing some different things exercise wise. I'm trying to, you know, that's what I try to achieve every day. Again, age, I don't buy into it. I don't that you can't progress at 50, 60, 70. I don't buy. I see too many really good bodybuilders. Robbie Robinson's one. Tony, see the guy, I'm trying to now think of his name in a minute, guy that I used to work out with years ago, who was in the Olympia. That dude right now is 70 something years old. His physique's really hard to believe he looks like that he's that fit. I mean, he's crazy fit. Tony Pearson. And so it's, you know, it's doable. And that's kind of and that's what it also inspires me when I see that, to know, even for me, that it's doable. Because you don't really know,
Right.
you know.
Well, Barry, believe it or not, we're about 34 minutes into this show. And I wanted to ask you, do you have a exercise you can kind of coach us through, or anything that we can add
You know what? I'm gonna, if you got it, yeah, real quick. Let me move this and a little. You know, I'm not a big for the women, ladies I train. When it comes to squatting, I'm not real big on squatting, especially like bar on back. There's a lot of not a lot of bang for the buck, a lot of risk. But I've always had my ladies do ball squats. So just picking up any kind of ball like this. And really for anybody, I mean, I do them, but put the ball in the middle of your back, right in that little crevice. You got to have your feet out in front, so you're actually trusting the ball. You know, all it is me, I'm literally leaning on this ball. And all you want to do when you squat is just, you'll get where you can do more, but I mean, it's just trust the ball, sit down. So first thing for me is my butt out, what I call butt out. Sitting down like I'm sitting in a chair. So everything I'm feeling right now is here. I feel nothing in my knees, which is that's what you don't want to do. Nothing in my back, nothing in my knees. Just head up, down and up, squat parallel, back up, squat parallel. Like right there, I can feel it. Like I can feel those. And then as you get more, as it get easier, then just grab you some weights. 8 pound, 10 pound, whatever, hold them here. Just squat down like this. That's a great quad, great for balance. Especially as we get older. I mean, it's great because there is some room for error there. Mm-hmm. As long as you're staying up and staying back and keeping pressure on this ball. And your first move is you don't go this way. You got to go butt out. Like I'm trying to sit in a chair.
Yeah.
Everything is right here in my quad. Real quick, we got a second. Then there's two things I've always been told. You only have time to do two things. You went in the gym. Like today I go to the gym, I got time to do two things. One would be squats, the other would be lunges. Again, you want the best thing as far as toning your butt. The problem with lunges, most people, I don't know if you can see this or if it's low enough on my screen. I know Reggie got on me for this, not being able to see me itself, but is people when they lunge, they want to lunge this. See where my knees going this way?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yep.
That's what you don't want. All your weight should not be in your knee. It shouldn't be here. I mean, that's a lot of, all my pressure is there. You want it in your glute.
Okay.
So if I'm lunging, I'm trying to lunge where I'm sitting back here. And then pushing back up. That's the work I'm getting, the pushing back up into that glute.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the incorrect lunge, your knee was over your foot.
Exactly. You don't want your knee over your toe or over your shoe.
I see.
You should be able, you want to have enough. Most people don't get far enough out, so you can only go that way. You want to go out as far as you go out to where you are straight up and down, push back up. That makes sense. If you just did these, I do them walking. So I could, once I start, I'm like, just keep walking through from one end of the room to the other end of the room.
Mm-hmm.
I like walking lunges. And I'll get the same thing where I'll get weights eventually. Now you see people doing, oh my God, I watch them get the big bar behind their head and they're walking across the room. I tried it once just for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for others. When you're younger, it probably works. For me, man, I thought I jacked my knee up. Just having that weight and again, having to go, because again, first thing is with that bar is everything I felt, everything is going forward. I don't want to go forward. I want to be able to go back almost like a squat,
Right.
in that direction. So lunges is one of those things that I see. It's hard to watch sometime in the gym, and I watch people that do lunges that have that knee
Too far out.
tracking forward.
Yeah.
All their weight's here in their
Mm-hmm.
knee. That's hard to watch.
Well, that is good to know. Hopefully, that's something that we can all take to the gym with us here in our next session. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed anything here, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Also, there's a notification bell that you can tap to get yourself notified every time we upload a new video. It's totally free of charge to do that. If you have any comments or questions, like our guy Strawberry Yogurt here, please leave them down in the comment section. We love to hear from you. Barry, how can people reach out to you?
I would go on Facebook Messenger, hit me up, train with Barry, or just hit me up, Barry Goforth hit me up on Messenger. Real quick, I know we got to go. How many eggs you have today, this morning?
Today I only had two. I only had two again. All right. I was hoping.
I just want to throw it out there because my brother hears that. He's probably gonna hit you up on a comment.
Okay, I'll be ready for it. I know I gotta up that dose.
He wasn't happy about that. He was a little shocked by that. For a guy that hadn't been on the program, just jumped in. Now he said, I'm eating 5 now. Tell Eric I'm eating 5.
5 eggs. I got a lot to catch up to do. So there you have it. Until next time.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Barry.
All right, buddy.